Warning. The following podcast will contain subject matter that on the surface may appear tame and for everyone. We here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind can assure you that it will not be. You will hear adult language. We will have a complete disregard for your feelings and emotions, and we will have zero restraint on the opinions shared on this show. There will be no safe spaces available for anyone listening. So, if you're one of those individuals offended by literally everything, this is not the fucking show for you.
One day, they will all come to my funeral just to make sure that I stay dead. But today is not that day. I'm alive! My heart is still beating and I'm breathing fresh air for the first time in a long time. My name is John Moxley, and I am on a mission to reclaim my soul. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks, it's about time this industry got a facelift. So make no mistake about it, this is an official declaration of war tonight to anyone who wants to get in my way and anybody who stands in AEW's way. We have a mission to knock the pillars of this industry on their ass. We ain't reading history books anymore, baby. We writing them. This is what you call a paradigm shift.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, your job soul brother from another mother. This is your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. I am AJ Orsini, and what a week! What a week it has been in the world of pro wrestling, if you will. Now, I would like to start this whole episode off right now with a huge congratulations. There is a congratulations in order, folks, and I will do it right here at the very, very beginning. Because of my beginning, that song you just heard, Orsini's Uncensored Mind, second theme here, was created by the great Mikey Ruckus. You guys can definitely follow him on the information that is in every description of every episode that theme plays on. He is an amazing creator. He is an amazing musician, a super class guy, and obviously a lot of fun for me to work with. Definitely collaborating for that song. And it has been an amazing week for Mikey Ruckus as he made his AEW debut this past weekend with Double or Nothing. And no, you didn't really get a chance to see him, but you did get a chance to enjoy his work. He is one of the composers for AEW and came up with a lot of the themes that you guys heard over the weekend, a lot of the music that you heard over the weekend. More importantly, and he's extremely proud of this, so I would love to let you guys know that he was also the person who did the cue times for the Chris Jericho entrance for Double or Nothing. Those three sequences of the past Jericho leading into his current evil incarnation. So thankfully to him, I should say, congratulations to everything that's been going on with Mikey Ruckus over the weekend. Congratulations to all the good folks who have had a hand in putting together an amazing show for All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing. Last week's episode, I did a post-Money in the Bank and a pre-Double or Nothing episode, all joined into one, because I knew this was going to be a big weekend, and I knew it deserved a fair amount of time, so I split it down the middle. I will not be splitting it down the middle today. Today, we are going AEW. We are going All Elite for the day here, for the episode 91, that I am bequeathing on to all of you. We will be going all elite today because, to be honest with you, there are plenty of things that I probably could be talking about that is not all elite wrestling, but I really do believe that show deserves much more of my attention than I've actually been giving it. I did last week's episode about it, and I really haven't talked much about AEW because, to be honest with you, there hasn't really been much to talk about. I'm not going to go so far as to say T-shirt company with the rest of these nitwits, but I will say that they've played a lot of things close to the chest. There hasn't really been much to discuss. For those of you who are new to the show, let me hook you up to a little bit of information here. This is not a, this is not a news. That wasn't a joke, by the way. I legitimately had a cough. But this is not a news podcast. You are not going to hear breaking news. You are not going to hear hot button discussions. I'm not discussing things on this show just for the sake of stirring shit up and trying to get controversy to create cash for me. I discuss topics on the show that I want to discuss, that I feel happy discussing, that bring joy into my life discussing. And sometimes I'll bring up things that are negative because I just feel the need to discuss them, because it can't all be rainbows and sunshine, folks. That's not how life works. But today will be a very good time. We're going to be discussing AEW, which is something I have not had a chance to discuss much. But now that we have Double or Nothing, now that we have something to really sink our teeth into, and to be all honest, there isn't still a whole lot that we know about. I still have many questions. I know a lot of fans do, real fans do, as to how this product will look going forward, especially as it relates to live TV every week on TNT. There's no real way for all of us to put these pieces together. But they did give us one hell of a sample size this past Saturday, so there is much to discuss. Now, I would like to disclose here at the beginning, before we get into this. Again, not only are we not news, we are not a review show. I am not going to go match by match and go through all the different things that I either liked or disliked. Well, let me not say that, because I am going to be doing some likes and dislikes. Let me just say this. We're not analyzing. Okay, this isn't an analytical show. Could I sit down and break down 9 hardcore matches here of pro wrestling? Yes, I could. I think I'd be very good at it, actually. But that's not the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show is for pro wrestling conversation. There are some things that need discussing, and I would love for feedback from you guys. Of course, AJ Orsini host at AJ Orsini 96 host at gmail.com. And of course, you can always message the page. You can always hit any of the social media up to be a part of the AEW discussion. And today's episode, as you saw by the name of it, I am bringing back the top 10. That's right, we're going to be discussing. I put an H in there. I don't know why. Discussing the top 10 moments of Double or Nothing. Not moments. What was it? I wrote down the thing. Top 10. Oh, yeah. Top 10 talking points about AEW's Double or Nothing. Top 10 talking points, which means, folks, for those of you who were wondering what the fuck does that even mean, talking points. Just last week, this is why you have to listen continuously, folks. Just last week, when I went over the card, when I went over the show, there were things that I was looking forward to seeing, looking forward to not seeing on this show. I wanted to get a good impression about where this show was headed, where the talent's headed, where the production was headed, a lot of different things I touched on last week. We are going to discuss now the top 10 things that I did notice about this show that I think going forward either need to stay or need to go. I wrote down 10 topics to discuss here on the show, the top 10 here. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 of them are negative, and they're not really that negative. They're just some concerns that I have, and of course, 7 other ones that are extremely positive that I saw. Overall, I was extremely positive about this show. It was a great show. It's not the greatest of all time. Whoever you are out there who are really putting this over as the greatest show to ever live might be pushing it just a stretch. But it was a fantastic show, and there are 10 talking points that we need to get to. But before we get into the 10, I would like to disclose. I tried starting off with this. I'm right back to where I started here. I am going to disclose right here at the beginning. I did not see Double or Nothing at the exact time in which it aired. I had date night. I was out with the wife. We were out doing shit. I very rarely ever get a chance to get a babysitter, and it just so happens my sister was over the house for Memorial Weekend, so the option was sit at home while I have a babysitter, or go out while I have a babysitter. So my wife and I decided to go out. What did we go out to do? Good question. We went out to go see the one-man genocide machine, John Wick. We went to go see John Wick 3, Parabellum, which we wondered about the whole film. My wife asked me before we went in, because she noticed it was on the poster, what does Parabellum mean? And I literally said it's Latin for something. I don't remember. And then I think we got all the way to the end scene of the film when they actually said what Parabellum meant. And that was a very big eye-opener for us. Now, that movie, so many people fucking died. There was just so much death. Death. John Wick films really numb you to the idea that death is like this big deal. It just seems like for John Wick, death is just, I don't know, Tuesday. It's just weird how numb you become to the idea. Like you literally become desensitized to the idea that these people are being murdered. The people that he's shooting in the neck will never be alive again. They will never walk again. They will never see their families again. I don't want to get too mentally into it, but it was kind of fucked up how many fucking people died in this film. It's kind of sick and perverted when you really think about it, but having said all that, that was a fucking awesome film. It was awesome. It was an awesome film. I love all the different challenges they put in front of John. You know, they took his finger from him, still a badass. They put armor plating on these people, still a badass. All the different variations. This guy walked the desert in a a black tie suit, and he's doing all this weird shit, and he is just fucking people up. I mean, somebody in the audience was kind of making the comparison because we saw a Hobbs and Shaw trailer leading up to the film, and a lot of people were making comparisons. This is kind of like a Fast and the Furious film where it's just, there's no explosions or anything. It's just bang, bang, bang. You know, it's fighting. It was like 2 straight hours of just fight choreography. It was just action upon action upon action. And if that is your deal, baby, and this was the movie for you, there was some story, there was some things going on about honor and rules and the, rules on the Continental. My wife and I were trying to break down the one scene where John comes back to New York because I don't want to spoil things for anybody, but there's a scene where John comes back and he's supposed to kill a particular somebody, and he's there from specific orders from high on up. The people who are trying to kill him gave him the orders to do this. So people were wondering why, if he's excommunicado, why there's some sort of protection to being on grounds. I don't want to give away too much, but it gets really convoluted toward the end there. And I think it's one of those films where I think we were too sober to watch it. Because I think if we would have been drunk, we would have really fucking dug down deep and got balls deep into that movie. And I don't think we really would have been worried too much about the character depth here. Like, John Wick's not one of those films. You're not worried about the evolution of the character. You just know that he's pissed off about the loss of his dog and his wife, and everyone has felt his wrath ever fucking since. But that's what we did on our Saturday there. Went out, got a bite to eat, did a little John Wick. On the ride back, I was a really good boy. I focused on the date and on my wife, and we had conversation. It was nice. But I'm not going to lie, that car ride back, I was taking a few looks, a few ganders at the Facebook timeline, and sure enough, dominated, Double or Nothing, just dominated social media. It was the second highest trending topic on Twitter. It was just trending. It was all over the world. It was all anybody was talking about. It's the new shiny toy that everybody was looking forward to seeing. And not just hardcore wrestling fans, because I know hardcore wrestling fans were all about it. Finally, an opportunity to see some real professional wrestling finally on the big stage and blah, 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 blah. But there were some casuals. I got a few people on my page who, don't really follow indies very much, and they seemed pretty excited about the idea of seeing this show. And for the most part, walked away from it with a very positive review of it. I'm very interested. A couple of people, and I hope this was the purpose of the show, but there were a couple of people that were upset when they found out that they're not really going to get a whole lot of AEW in the next coming weeks. They have to wait till really October to really get their weekly dosage. They have another show coming up. I believe it's in July. And then, of course, they announced their big, huge return to the Sears Center August for All Out. They've already announced 2 matches for that card, which I will talk about at the end of all this, as I don't want to give away what took place at the show until we get there in a timely fashion. So, I was supposed to have sound effects for this. Did not work out that way. So I am going to do my best to get through this and just go straight through with the numbers here and leave you guys with something to dig your teeth into. So let's talk about the 10 talking points of AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Let's start first of all with number 10. Okay, one of the smaller but still very, very valid points that I wanted to discuss here about Double or Nothing. Fresh talent is what I wrote here. I cannot begin to explain to you how refreshing, if I can use that word, it was to see such a big production, big building, big staging, Tron. Just looked so major league. That one show looked better than any TNA Impact show I'd ever seen. Just structurally. We'll get to the production stuff in a second. It's one of the talking points, but the stage that they set, it was nice to see different faces come out of those tunnels. Some of them were familiar, obviously. Jericho and Dustin and your usual, even Sean Spears to a degree, to see Ty Dillinger come out. There were a couple of WWE guys, Dreamer coming out, Billy Gunn. Those people look like they fit, because that's what the environment you're used to seeing them in. But it was very nice to see some fresh faces, some people that I've seen only on the indie scene, and then there are those who I've never seen at all, who came out there and didn't look too anxious or nervous. There were a lot of people, a lot of guys and gals that went out there, did their thing, and performed like they've been there before. And that's a very big deal when you're a young up-and-coming talent, to perform like you've been there before. And I have to compliment one fresh face in particular. For those of you who are fans of MLW, which we will be talking a lot more on this show in the upcoming weeks, I've got some very positive things to say about MLW coming up soon. We're gonna talk about that when the time comes to it. But if you're a fan of the MLW network and all those folks over there, you're familiar with its talent. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, really stole the show, in my opinion, at Double or Nothing. He's the one undercard guy where you look at him and you see dollar signs. The guy just has this magnetic charisma about him. Good-looking body, good move for a heel, good moveset. He just gets it. He just gets it. And quick story, if I could pull the curtain back just a little bit, it actually is kind of funny. As a promoter, when I was working with 2KW Pro a few years back, he was in wrestling school. He was, I believe he's a graduate of Create a Pro, or one of those Long Island schools. I can't remember. But he was fresh out, and when he was out of the school, he was running this exact gimmick. And I remember him being pitched to me around that time. I was like, hey, he's a student. He's just graduated, so he's kind of in that mixed student pro wrestling phase right now. He hasn't really jumped up. He only really cost a few bucks because he's trying to get his feet wet. Are you interested? And I said, well, send me some shit. And they sent me some matches. And, of course, even then, when he's fresh out, he just looked smooth. He wasn't there yet. But he looked smooth. He looked good. It was his promos. This guy sent me promos. And I was like, this guy's going to be fucking huge. Got to get him. And we reached out, and the money was good, but the scheduling was not working out. The time period in which we were doing the show, he was already booked. So it never really worked out. And then little by little, this guy just been elevated, and now he will definitely, in my opinion, be one of the top stars moving forward with one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world. He's that talented. He's that good. I'm telling you guys, I've seen this kid straight out of school looking just like this. He's polished it. You could tell he's had the right people in his ear, giving him the confidence boost that he needs, pushing him. and trying to get his. You can almost tell that some of the vets are moving him along as fast as they can because he's got youth on his side. He clearly has a great mind for the business. I mean, even Cornette has put this guy over a bunch of times on his podcast, and everyone says the same thing every single time they look at him. Money. This guy is money. There were a few other fresh faces that made some impressions, and Helico and Jack Evans are not exactly new faces to the pro wrestling world, but they are new faces to a lot of casuals. I was sitting with a lot of people who had never seen these guys before, and they were just like, these guys do some crazy shit. Now, their style is not exactly my favorite style in the world, but it is a style, and it's theirs, and they absolutely killed it. Best Friends, a little bit more my speed. I am a huge mark for fucking Chucky T and for Trent Beretta. They put on a hell of a tag team match, man. They absolutely did. That was one of my favorite matches of the whole card. Just the build up for the hug and all. I just love the Best Friends. And that was an incredible match. I thought the Joshi women were nice, a nice dash of freshness, and we're gonna get to that little situation with the ring bell a little later on. But right now we're just talking fresh faces. And it was really good. SoCal Uncensored going against the Strong Hearts, Sema T-Hawk and Il Lindemann. There were a lot of great opportunities. Even the pre-show, Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. I always say his name wrong every fucking time. Even to his face, by accident, I get his name wrong. There were a lot of solid matches here, a lot of showcases. I wasn't expecting a whole lot character-wise from them. I think a lot of their strong suits is the athletic side. You know, this is a taste of what's to come. We can always work on the character stuff later on. Right now, it was an awesome idea for them just to go forward and put forth their best effort on the opening drive here, and they did just that. So I love the idea of fresh faces. It made watching Raw and SmackDown a little bit more tolerable because I got a palate cleanse the other day. So. And we'll get to that as well. A lot to get to here on episode 91. Let's get to number 9 here. This one's a negative for me. But I wanted to bring it up nice and early. We'll sit here and we'll talk about it just a little bit. It's a negative, but it's not a huge negative. It's not like a deal breaker type deal for me. It was just something that I think AEW and pro wrestling fans as a whole really should be concerned about. And it wasn't really at Double or Nothing so much as it was post Double or Nothing. It was in the interviews after the show was over. Cody was doing a lot of interviews with a lot of people afterwards. A lot of people were. And Cody was asked a question concerning his EVP status, his executive vice president deal, and being a wrestler and all kinds of stuff. And they were asking him about the Triple H entrance and all that stuff, which, again, we will get into that. But Cody had referenced the chair, the Triple H deal, his explanation is a little weak, but at the same time, it is his explanation, so it's whatever. But he had this idea where it's like, well, I'm not really taking a shot at Triple H. It's more or less me taking a shot at the position because, yes, he is a vice president here of the company, but, and this is an exact quote from him, he states that he wants to be a wrestler first. You know, yes, he's a vice president. Yes, he has a limited amount of control within the company and you know, controlling stake, but he wants to be a wrestler first. And the reason why I have this down as a negative is because I had concerns going into this in the first place. To have this many VPs, this many vice presidents, all working toward a common goal concerned me, and it concerned me greatly because the one thing positive about Vince McMahon is at least you know where the buck stops. You know, he has his hands in too much. He is a prime example of doing it wrong. But I've always been a firm believer in a CEO or a COO or just a boss in general, just someone, who's going to have the final call in a position to make the best decisions. To have multiple people in the same spot just causes confusion. So I was always concerned that friendship might get in the way of business or business in the way of friendship or whatever the case may be. When I hear something like this, I want to be a wrestler first. That concerns me. I don't know if, as a billionaire, if you give an entity $100 million to begin and to conduct regular weekly business, that you want one of your vice presidents saying he wants to be an employee first before he really considers his managerial responsibilities. That's not something you want to hear. I know I would not. And I'm not a billionaire. This is one of the problems with, and Kenny is also one, and he's one of the top talents, and the Bucks are, and they're one of the top talents, and yeah, they want to, listen, let's put the bullshit to the side. Their main goal with AEW was to have a high-profile place to work where they didn't have a boss to answer to. At least not one that had the balls to really be a boss. I'm not saying Tony Khan doesn't have balls. What I'm saying is he's a fan as much as he is a businessman, and I'm sure in business situations, he'll put his foot down when he needs to and speak up for himself. He's not a pussy. But at the same time, he's a fan, and he respects the Young Bucks, and he respects Cody, and I don't see too many situations, especially out of the gate, where he's going to really be knocking these guys down and really cracking down on them to get serious business done. So so I would assume Tony Khan would be leaving it up to them to decide whatever that balance may be. But now we're hearing that there really isn't going to be much balance. These guys, and I'm sure Cody only spoke for himself. So I can't say the others have the same same reaction or are going to have the same tact. But they're so close. A good, smart assumption would be that they're kind of on the same page about that. They want to be top talents without having the responsibility of answering to the evil madman behind the microphone. They want to do their own fucking things. So I don't think for 1 second that they are lying or they're misspeaking when they say we want to be wrestlers first. Now, I may be wrong. They may be able to have one hell of a balance and they can go out there and creatively do some things with AEW's moving forward that won't hinder their vice president's duties. I may be wrong. But man, is that a scary thing to fucking hear. When you're the owner or proprietor of a major business and your management team says, I'm still the mailroom at heart. No, that is not how this is supposed to work. I just gave you $100 million to operate a business, not for you to go out there and do a bunch of crazy shit in the ring. There's got to be a balance. I'm not saying he has to retire from wrestling. It can work. But there has to be a balance. Wrestlers first is not balance. That's pretty much saying where your priorities are. Your priorities are to be the wrestler. And that could spell trouble. That could be bad if done incorrectly. Oh, man. So here we are with number 8. I'm going to move forward from that, back into the world of positivity. I was mentioning a little bit of it earlier in production. I was looking for a big production. I said it last week. I don't want to see any small potato bullshit. When you advocate to yourself that we can sell 10,000 tickets, that we can fill up these big arenas, and you sit there and you pound your chest about it, I expect to see it all the time now. This is how you operate. This is persona. This is it. This is a modus operandi. This is how we move forward with our business model. So that's what I was expecting, and they did not disappoint. The MGM Grand Garden Arena is a beautiful facility. Not the biggest, but it doesn't need to be the biggest. It just needs to be bigger than everyone else, and it was. It's a beautiful facility. They designed it perfectly. Their set piece looked good. I got to tell you, the WWE using the big screens for everything, on paper it looks dope. You get your nice little Titantrons now. You get Floortrons now. All kinds of cool shit. It's pricey. It looks expensive. It looks professional. But it ain't very creative. I grew up in an era in WWE where we had different entrances. I still say to this day, one of my favorite entrances of all time is the 1998 Over the Edge set. The one with the abandoned, broken down cars with the Briscoe Brothers Body Shop phone number on the side and all that shit. That's great. The big backlash fish hooks. that used to go in between, and they would move like throughout the course of the fucking evening. Even something as corny and stupid as the DX logo. And because it was just a metal graded X with a little cartoony D next to it, whatever the case may be. At least there was 10 seconds of fucking thought put towards it. The WWE just puts those screens up and try to manifest shit. And it's so funny because the Trons went up, the Trons got bigger, the Trons got more expensive, but the creativity that went into the Trons got less. I don't even get Titantrons anymore. It's just GIFs now. We just have moving GIFs. They just put the name on the screen and flash a few lights, and that's pretty much it now. There's no creativity to it at all whatsoever. So, I'm not saying AEW has to have this big-ass #1 in the world production. That's fine. You don't need that. Just give me a little creativity. Give me a little something to wet the palate. And they did. As funny as it was to me, at first I laughed, but as funny as it was to me, when the picture leaked of the set, they did like a first look deal, and someone tweeted a picture of what the set looked like, and it gave me like those old Impact Wrestling feels with the double cylinder like entrances coming through. It looked very Impact Wrestling, and I went, no, I got scared really fast. I got scared out of my fucking mind. I said, please don't do that. But it all worked out really good, man. Tron looked good. Even the poker chips. I mean, I heard a lot of jokes online about the poker chips. I love the poker chips. They were good. They added something. And I especially love the fact that they were used right there at the end, which was also pretty cool. But yeah, this whole look and feel. Cameraman communication, not 100%, but that's fine. I'm not sure if it's a new crew that's working together, because if you're familiar with production, crews that work together usually do the best. When you start spit gluing crews together, shit happens. So I don't know if this was the first time the team had been together. I don't know if this is the first time whoever did production had done wrestling before. I don't know if it's their first time doing wrestling. Because there were a couple of moves that were missed, a couple of spots that the cameraman was in the wrong spot. I don't know if they have a truck, if they were going place to place or whatever the case. I don't know. I don't know how that works. It wasn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect, especially not out the gate. All In wasn't perfect either, but they made the shit work, and it still looked good. The whole production looked good. It looked awesome. It was easy to follow. They had the lower thirds with the Twitter handles on. They looked good. Everything. The music, I gave credit to my boy Mikey earlier. I thought he did all the music. Apparently, he clarified with me he did most. There were a lot of themes that he got a chance to do. There were some wrestlers that brought in their own things because they wanted to own them, and whatever the case may be. But I actually gave him credit for the Bret Hart theme, because I thought that song was fire for Bret. Non-WWE version, I love it. But it was not him. It was another gentleman, which I do not know. Otherwise, I would give him credit. But it was not Mikey. And it was just great. Angelico and Jack Evans were bopping to their song, and it's just cool. Something about Cody's music that just kind of fucking gets me pumped. I love it. It's a really good song. The product. I'm gonna get into this whole deal with the Triple H entrance probably last. Now that I'm looking at this list, but even that looked good. It looked exactly like one of those fucking thrones that Triple H would sit on for WrestleMania. So overall, production looked good. I anticipate far more improvement as we move forward. They have time to work out the kinks because they're not going to really be on TV until October, like I said. They have another show. They have 2 shows between now and TNT. So they've got time to figure this out. And I think that they will. I think if they haven't already had the production meeting where they sit back and they just go over everything. So it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. Number 7, no scripted promos. This was something that Cody Rhodes went off about on several occasions, not only his own personal account, but on interviews, and he doesn't want to script the wrestlers. Now, I put this down as a positive, and I'm going to explain why in a second, but I'm going to start with a little bit of negative. When I first heard him say we're not scripting promos, I got a little sad, because I'm going to be honest with you folks, ain't a whole lot of talkers left in this business. There just aren't. Not people. There are people who can talk in the sense of getting a point across. There are people out there that can tell you where to be and where to buy tickets, and I'm going to beat this guy up and make it sound interesting. But the day and age where people can get on a microphone and talk you into the building It's rare. There aren't a whole lot of guys who can do that. So when he said no scripting, then I got really worried. But as I watched the show, I realized I don't need to worry. This is going to be okay. And the reason for that is because I started asking myself why I was worried in the first place. And the reason why I was worried in the first place is because the WWE has conditioned me to sit through shitty promos. Meaning, whether a guy can talk or cannot talk is irrelevant to the WWE. If they cannot talk, they're talking anyway. So, a situation where there's no script makes me nervous. But as I watched Double or Nothing, I started realizing who the people were that were talking and who the people were that weren't talking. And smart as it may be, the only people really talking are the people who can talk. Fancy that. The actual talkers were the only ones that got a chance to really talk. That's what the promo packages were. That's what the in-ring segments were. The only time that people spoke is to get a point across or to get heat. They had purpose when they spoke. And I got to tell you something. I forgot on the big stage that that's how that shit worked. The WWE has wiped its ass with that formula for so long. I genuinely forgot that a person who cannot talk should not be talking. And I'm glad AEW went that route. AEW is not going to script your promo, but if you're a shit promo, you won't be doing promos. And I think, in my opinion, on the big stage, that's going to hurt you. I don't think AEW is going to keep you around for very long if you don't have something marketable about you. I don't think they're in a position to be the WWE in the sense of just gathering talent for the shits and giggles of having them. I think if AEW has you on the roster, the objective here is to get you to be productive. You have to contribute. Now, if you can go out there and be a fantastic athlete, I think AEW is going to find a way to make that work. But if your work is subpar, or if your work is average, and you can't talk, I don't think you're going to be around for very long. So for the few guys that are on the roster who probably have a weak promo or just have a hard time speaking in front of an audience at large, which is a thing. You know, there are people who legitimately fear speaking in the public domain that fucking big. It's happened before. So, having said that, if they're going to be choosy about who they let do promos, specifically so they don't have to script them, and they can put guys out there that they trust, that are going to be able to hit their cues and hit their marks and get their point across and deliver promos that eventually will build toward a big program, I'm with it. I'm with it. I was scared at first, but now that I see them doing it, bringing it back to the old school, I'm with it. Very, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. So now we move on to number 6. Number 6 here, I wrote down veteran leadership. I need this to be very, very, very fucking clear. I have seen this 1,000 times on social media. 1,000 times. And I'm not angry with anyone, and I'm not hating or judging. It's, fans are fans. It's discussion, it's conversation, it's saying what needs to be said. Fine. But I think it's insanely moronic whenever I see people go, well, if you could move 5 guys from the WWE to AEW, who would it be? None. Nobody. I don't need that. I want people who are in the WWE to be in the WWE. I want people who are going to be in AEW to be absolutely different. Now, if you want to go back and forth and have talent, try to free themselves from the shackle of being in Stamford, Connecticut and going there, or people from AEW who want a shot at the WWE just to see what that other side is like and go back and forth like WWE and WCW did for so many years, that's fine. But this notion that the AEW was just going to be a landing pad for either failed or miserable or unhappy, disgruntled WWE workers is an absolute garbage theory. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people leaving the WWE specifically just to come to AEW so they can get a little bit more freedom or get a couple more bucks. That's not what I want. That's not what I want, and I don't think a lot of fans truly want that either. I want to see AEW open the doors for new people. I want to see AEW open the doors for those young up-and-coming performers who are right there on the cusp and just need a little hand. That's what I want. And this company is going to have weekly television. Okay? There are a lot of people on this roster who don't even have experience wrestling in front of 1,000 people, let alone 10 or 20, or being on live TV, or being on live pay-per-view. No retakes, no redos, straight up performance. There's a lot of people who don't have the experience to do this. And Chris Jericho nailed it right on the head in his podcast with Dean Ambrose, which again we'll talk about later, where they said they consider themselves valuable more in the sense of experience than actual performance. They feel that because they have huge success and a lot of experience running in a weekly live television product, they could be invaluable assets to the locker room. And I agree 1,000%. I said when AEW had their first press conference and they announced Chris Jericho as one of the signings to the company, I went on this podcast and I said, that's your MVP. That's the guy who's going to be the player coach to show these young boys how to do it. And now they've acquired just a little bit more and a little bit more. Sean Spears has experience. Obviously, Dustin has experience. Dean Ambrose obviously has experience. They have brought in a nice number of very knowledgeable and valuable coaches. Now, they're athletes as well. They're still performers, and they're going to perform. Yeah, no doubt. But I really, truly believe Jericho was on the money. Their main value is bringing these young guys up. Because let's face it, Jericho is on top right now. He won't be on top forever. Dean Ambrose is, what did he say? He's age 32. So he's got some years. But I said it last week when I was talking about Pac and Adam Page. Adam Page, Hangman Page, needs to be a focal point. That's your young up-and-coming guy right there. You're going to get 10 years, God willing. If this company can produce great television and make some money, Adam Page is going to be one of your top stars. MJF is going to be one of your top stars. There's a lot of guys on this roster room here. Best Friends might go down as one of your best tag teams ever. I'm going to call that right now. One of the most entertaining, athletic, and storytelling tag teams of all time. Definitely one of the most beloved. I'm telling you right now, I'm calling that. There's going to be a lot of entities here. Okay, Kylie Ray might go down as one of their best women wrestlers. Britt Baker is the one they seem to be positioning, but I think there's room for more than one at the top. They have a lot of opportunity here to really get some younger talent, more experience. When they announced Awesome Kong into that match and made it a four-way, I thought, great. I know Kong can't move around the way she used to for physical reasons, health reasons, but that's not even the point. She's in the locker room. They're having the discussion. They're talking about this. They're lending that locker room leadership on these people, showing them the ropes. That's more important than literally anything these veterans can do right now. I know it's cliche to say, but setting up the next generation is absolutely important. It always is important. I'm not even a big star, and that's all I do, is try to help the next generation. That's it. And I think AEW has a nice blend of veterans that they already have on the roster. I'm sure more will be added over time. But if you're hiring a former WWE guy, if you're hiring a veteran from a long with some years on them, that's the best usage of them. Get the young guys enough experience and enough leadership in the locker room to really help pan this out. Because Cody, the Bucks, and Omega can't be in the locker room all the time. They're VPs. They got shit to do. So you need your player coaches to step up. Speaking of player coaches, head over to number 5 here. Commentary help. And I wrote in fucking caps. SOS. This is going to be a negative, folks, so buckle the fuck in. And I'm not saying this because I'm a former commentator and I've got some sort of hate or anything going for any of these 3 men. Because I don't hate them. I actually don't hate any of the 3 men there. I actually think, to a degree, they're all talented at what they do. Jim Ross is a living legend. That goes without saying. Excalibur has been a commentator for professional wrestling for a long time. Alex Marquez, I have very limited knowledge on. Okay, very limited. But I was listening to this broadcast, and I had people who were in the building who didn't hear the commentary. They were in the building. They watched the whole show, and they flew back from Las Vegas, and just because of the commentary, they put the pay-per-view on just so they can hear it and see if they can get some insight or if it made the matches any better. And I had a bunch of people tell me that the commentary literally ruined the show for them, and that thank God they couldn't hear it in the building because the commentary was not good. It wasn't good. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm sorry. It wasn't good. Now, am I saying that the three of them are bad? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these motherfuckers did not gel night one. This was not love at first sight. Okay? Jim Ross is one of the greatest professional wrestling commentators of all time. I actually still think if he really, really had his way, he could still be. But the problem that he's been having recently, not even in AEW, because he had this problem in New Japan as well, and he has this problem in any guest spot that he does. The reason why his commentary worked so well in the WWE is because he knew the fucking talent. He knew the men and women who were performing. He knew about the gimmicks. He knew about the storylines. When Jim went back for the Mae Young Classic, he had the same commentating problems that he has right now. And the reason he's having those problems is because he doesn't know the people. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's winging it. He's calling it on the fly. And I'm not saying that he's not speaking to wrestlers. I'm not saying that he's not trying to gather information. He's a professional. He's backstage, so I'm sure he's asking all the right questions. But there's a difference between meeting a guy on the first night and trying to get a feel for him than knowing a guy for a while. I know. I just told you. I used to do this job. I've done commentary, and I've done just that. I'll walk around the locker room. I'll speak to certain talents. Hey, man, what's your gimmick? What's your finish? Is there anything you want me to say out there to get you over? Is there anything you're trying to get over? You ask all the right questions, and I'm sure Jim did his due diligence. But it is apparent that he does not know any of these fucking people. He's asking questions some of the times. Some of the times it's so blatant that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He just starts asking. And one sentence that we heard a lot from both him and Alex was to Excalibur. It's like, well, you know these guys a little bit better than we do. Could you give us any insight and blah, 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 blah. Which made Excalibur look great, right? Because he knows a lot of these guys. And my problem with Excalibur has always been, I think he's a fantastic commentator. I just think sometimes he overdoes it. I think sometimes he's too inside. His main resume basically resides with PWG. And with PWG, he knows everybody. Just like Jim Ross. He knows everybody. So he's got inside jokes, he's got this, he's got that. He really makes you feel like he knows the guy, but sometimes he gets so lost in it that it takes away from the match. I don't know how many times I've watched PWG matches and the commentators are giggling to themselves for like an hour. It just takes away from the whole fucking thing. But he didn't do that here. I actually thought of the three, Excalibur might have done the best job, which leads me to Alex Marquez. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he comes from. And yeah, before this podcast, if I had the time, I would have looked it up. But the bottom line is, he did not perform well here at all. He seemed confused. He seemed tired or not enthusiastic. The one that killed me was they did a commercial for the All Out show, and they were doing a quick little promo on it, the three commentators, talking about the upcoming show, and he forgot the ticket date, and they had to correct him on air. They had to correct him. I'm looking it up here. Alex Marquez, he used to work for NFL Insider. So he has sports experience. You could tell he has sports experience. If you listen to him during the show, you could tell that he knows what he's talking about. It's just not coming out in the order in which it should be. It's just so off. He just seemed confused, and I don't know. It was just odd. The whole commentary deal was odd the whole fucking time through. And at the end here, when we had Omega and we had Jericho, Jim really, like even Cody Dustin, like when the right matches were in the ring, JR was right there, knew exactly what to call and how to call it. And it finally felt right. The two guys were able to follow Jim Ross's lead, and it all felt right. But then there were those matches where if Jim didn't know the guy, if Jim wasn't leading the broadcast, the other two guys just seemed lost. I don't know if it was out of respect for Jim. Like, I don't know if Excalibur really, like, for instance, during the Young Buck Lucha Bros match, I'm pretty sure Excalibur, under normal circumstances, would have said, fuck this, and just taken the reins. I don't know if they felt the need that they didn't want to overstep on Jim, and they were being respectful, and they just pulled back, and were just trying to help Jim get there. I don't know, but the dynamic for this whole team is off. And can I just add another point? If you're trying to be different and alternative from the WWE, why are we still stuck in a three-man commentating booth? I have done three-man commentating booth. It is annoying as fuck. I have had to lead three-man teams, and I have had to be a second color. Usually how three-man team works is a play-by-play and two color, as opposed to a two-man team, which is play-by-play and one color, and then, of course, you've got the Joey Styles position where you're a little bit of both. Okay? So for a three-man team, you still only have one driver, which is the play-by-play. And you try to weave in each color as the broadcast continues on. To continue to do that for a 3 or 4 hour process is exhausting and a pain in the ass. And I would know because I did that shit for years. One of my favorite three-man teams was when I was leading the broadcast as a play-by-play with Brandon Lewis as a commentator and Matt Stryker as another commentator, as another color. I did that at House of Glory. That was like a 4-hour fucking show with Matt Stryker to my right and Brandon Lewis to my left. And as professional as all three of us were, it was a clusterfuck, or at least it started off as one, and then we kind of started to get rhythm because Matt Stryker is a play-by-play for Lucha Underground, at least he was at the time. And out of respect for me, Matt allowed me to maintain my position, which was a play-by-play guy, and he told me, I'll do the color, baby, do your thing, because me and Brandon have chemistry. We worked together for years. He didn't want to disrupt that. So he said, you know what, I'll do the other color, feed me when you need to, whatever the case may be. So maybe it sucked in the beginning because I sucked at it, but we started kicking up toward the end there and it got really, really good. But my point is it's hard. It's difficult to do. So I know where they're coming from. This is why I'm saying this as, I put this in the negative category, but I don't think it's going to stay in the negative category. I think these three will figure it out. I'm just grading based on this one show, and this one show was not good. By the time we get to October, who knows? It may be a kick-ass three-man team by then. It could go down as one of the best. Because if you think about it, I'm reading as I'm talking, but as Alex Marvez has a lot of sports history and a resume, and he's if you take that with Excalibur's current modern style knowledge and combine that with Jim Ross's on-air experience, you have the potential for a very, very good commentating team. They just weren't very, very good on that night. So I'm hoping they pick it up. I'm hoping it changes because I think they have something they could really add. There's a lot of potential there. We're getting close on time here, so I'm going to actually pair these two up, 4 and 3, because it's kind of the same conversation. But I wanted to talk about the diversity of the tag team division and the women's division. And there's going to be some disparity. And what I'm saying by that is the tag team division, as of right now, is still formulating, I think, actually, of all the different divisions that they have so far. And so far, it's just the basic singles heavyweight tag team and women. The tag team division right now, I think only has about 3 or 4 teams in it. We got a taste of, well, first of all, you have the Young Bucks, obviously. Lucha Bros are not full-time members of AEW, although they'll be working again with them in the future. Best Friends is my favorite tag team in AEW right now, with the exception of, and I haven't had a chance to mention them yet during this whole podcast, Private Party. 2 of my homies from House of Glory, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, who did that thing in the Battle Royal earlier in the card. Obviously, you've got Angelico and Jack Evans, which I think would be a dream match. Angelico and Jack Evans against Private Party to me is a dream match. That's a Spot Fest city, and I'm going to be sitting there with my Cirque du Soleil glasses firmly on for that one. But the point is they have the potential so far to have a very exciting tag team division. And I remember the Young Bucks stating at one of the press conferences that they're really looking forward to giving people the best damn tag team division in the world. And I think, personally, They have the resources to do it. My only concern is of the teams that I just mentioned to you so far, they all have pretty much the same style. The Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, Private Party, Angelico Evans, even to a degree Chucky T and Trent Beretta, they're all kind of the same side of the same, different sides of a very similar coin. I didn't see too many powerhouses. We did get a glimpse of an upcoming debut of Super Smash Brothers, which I can only guarantee that they're going to change that name. But Super Smash Brothers, but even they have like one athletic guy and then one big guy. It's still kind of a half and half deal. There isn't too much diversity in that division. It's all a bunch of really athletic guys doing pretty much the same shit to each other. So I'm not entirely, and if the Young Bucks are going to keep doing what they've been doing, their match with the Lucha Bros, they were breaking out every one of their opponents. I mean, they were breaking out finishers that didn't even belong to them. They were doing what was it they mentioned on the air? Hiroshi Hase, the float over Northern Lights. They were doing Motor City Machine Gun moves. They were doing Steen and Generico moves. Apparently, the Young Bucks are succubuses. Apparently, if you wrestle the Young Bucks and lose to them, they consume your moveset. I did not know this about the Young Bucks. This is new to me. But apparently, if the Young Bucks have the ultimate tag team strategy, they're going to hit you with everything they got. If you kick out of everything they got, they're going to start hitting you with other people's shit until they knock you out and defeat you. So, if the Young Bucks keep doing that, they're going to be basically unstoppable. But even still, the styles are the same. There isn't much diversity in that division. I didn't see any powerhouses. I didn't see any shoot style. I didn't see any British style. I didn't see any strong style. I didn't see any of that shit. I saw a bunch of athletic tag teams that are going to put on good matches, and that's about it. I'm waiting for some sort of team to come in and just kibosh the whole thing and really shake shit up. Now, I know that it's really early in the game to be worrying about shaking shit up, but your whole existence is shaking shit up, so you might as well just go all the way with that. We'll head over to the women's division now with number 3. Like I said, I'm combining. It's the same argument here. Britt Baker and I actually had a different sense about the women's division so far. I do see diversity in the women's division thus far. Kylie Ray is amazing. That was my first time really seeing a full-on Kylie Ray match. And I got the Bailey comment now. Cody made the reference on the build-up to the pay-per-view that Kylie Ray had this great energy about her. She was just so happy and go-lucky all the time. And not that wavy, inflatable arm, fake kind of happy, but, real genuine emotion. I thought he was just taking a shot at WWE. I didn't realize what he was talking about until I saw Kylie Ray, and I went, oh, yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, she is bubbly as fuck. Excuse me. I got Pearl Harbored there by the gas there. Okay. Kylie Ray is definitely an amazing athlete. Definitely. Not exactly the biggest girl in the ring. And that one actually went to Awesome Kong. And before that, when it wasn't a surprise, Nyla Rose. Now, Nyla Rose is a very intriguing figure when it comes to professional wrestling and wrestling on the main stage. She's transgender. They've made no bones about that. They've been very open about that. She's been very open about that. And I really do feel a lot of that criticism that she's getting right now was strictly because of that. Because she hadn't wrestled yet on the big stage up until this past weekend. So to shit on her and say, well, she's garbage and she's this and she's that, you're basically just making that based off of her personal choices and not on her work. So I've had a chance in the past to work with Nyla. I've seen her perform in the past, but it has been a long time since I have seen her perform. When I worked with her a few times years ago, I was not overly impressed. But I have to say, the face-off with Kong and all the different things that she did with the smaller ladies in the ring, I'm looking forward to see where this goes, because if she can perform at a high level in this division, trans or no trans, she's going to be a contributor. And I'm waiting to see how this division expands out more. The Joshi match gave me an impression that they may be interested in adopting a style closer to that. So we'll see. I don't expect too many more of the Joshi girls to be around. I think they want to build their company around more localized talent. I don't know if they want to continuously keep paying for these Japan tickets to keep coming. Because, even WWE, like, if you're from another country, you don't stay in another country. You move to the States. That's not how that's going to work. So I don't know how that's going to work itself out, but I'm not basing my opinion on the women's division solely on the Joshi stuff. I want to see how the localized women do it. I want to see how their division opens up. It's wide open on both sides, tag teams and women. Let's get some more in here. Let's build. Let's go from here. Let's see what happens. Topic number 2 here. In-ring style. I touched a little bit on that with the tag team division and athleticism and spots and all that other stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm getting closer and closer to this whole wrestling has many styles argument that people make to me all the time, because I'm not a fan of the flippy shit. I'm not a fan of the hardcore shit. And people are like, oh, well, every wrestling has different styles. Okay, if that is the case, if wrestling has many styles and there's many variations of it, I would like to start seeing it. If you're going to tell me that this is important to the business, that it's a part of the evolution, that if you're going to have an opportunity to display this on a big platform, then I would get right on that. Now, I know that Double or Nothing was the first sample. You're not going to throw out 80 million things, because then, if you do too much the first night, you leave people with the question of what your product even is, right? You have no brand recognition at all whatsoever. If you're too far all over the map night one, you're too busy, you're too confusing, you're going to leave people hanging. So I get that. I'm not putting the pressure. I have this in the positive. No, I don't. I do have it in negative. I remember now why I did. But I think there's room for positivity in this. I think if you keep it diverse, if you do touch on all these different styles and you give fans a little bit of something different, like Nitro did, that gets a lot of comparisons to WCW. Nitro did that. We had a hardcore match here. We had a cruiserweight match here. We had a big man match here. We had a little guy match. It was all over the place. There was a lot of variety and a lot of different things to put your faith into in the wrestling program. I think we need to see more of that. This is where it gets negative, because I've got this feeling based on the Young Buck match and based on the Angelico Jack Evans match and based on the Kip Sabian match, as the pay-per-view progressed, the older guys kept it slim and the younger guys killed themselves. And this is why I put the in-ring style thing in the negative. You cannot kill yourself every fucking night. You can't. It can't be done. You're not going to hold the fuck up. Okay? That match that the Young Bucks had with Lucha Bros, all right, it's impressive. It was good. I'm not going to complain about it, right? But what I will complain about is if they do that fucking match every fucking night. I cannot continuously watch TNT weekly and watch the Young Bucks use every tag team finish on the planet and continuously be unable to beat opponents every single week. Can't do it. It can't be done. You will oversensitize people and they will leave. There is a specific reason why veterans tell you all the time the indie shit cannot work on the big stage. It can't. Every other weekend or every weekend at your local indie spot, yeah, sure, kill them. But weekly television, on the road, traveling all the time, it cannot be done. It can't. You have to find something else. And I think that they will. I think they will adapt. I think they're going to change the game up and bring out those big-ass matches on pay-per-views or even like big pay-per-views. Maybe not even every pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Pick your shots. But the in-ring style has to change. Has to. And if that loses you as a fan, then you're not really a pro wrestling fan. Because a pro wrestling fan would find entertainment in the different variety. Like you said, there's different versions of it. Just because they're not car crashing every single night doesn't mean you can just shun them. The Young Bucks are entertaining without having to kill themselves. Okay? They can still put on a decent match without dying. They're that good. And there are a lot of teams in that division that are also that good. That's why I'm leaning toward the Best Friends. That's my favorite tag team right now. Trent Beretta has weekly television experience. Chucky T is not that kind of performer. He's not the kind of guy to go out there and just murder his body. He's an entertainer as well as a skilled technician. He can do both. And I think Best Friends moving forward should be one of their top priorities, along with, of course, the Young Bucks. Because of course, the Young Bucks are going to be top priority. They're VPs. So the number one topic, and yes, these were in a particular order. The number one, the most important thing we need to talk about as far as his pay-per-view goes, as far as Double or Nothing goes, its existence is important. I wrote the word existence, positive. Folks, let's get down to the nitty-gritty on this. Let's talk turkey on this, folks. AEW versus WWE is an AEW versus versus WWE thing. It's got nothing to do with us. You guys, the fans, have the option. It's okay. You've got the option to be fans of both, to get variety. When I was a kid, I loved the WWE, but I still watched WCW. I told the story here. I'd watch the show. I'd watch WCW from 8 o'clock to 9. I'd put on Raw from 9 to 11, and I'd watch the replay after 11. That's 6 solid straight hours of wrestling, WCW and WWE, weekly. I did it every Monday. You guys are going to have that option now. You don't have to pick a side. That's why AEW's existence is so important. They've only had one show, and they're already considered number 2 at start. Who knows? There will be a year from now. Can they be number 1? I say yes. I actually do say that. Not on a financial standpoint, not anytime soon. The WWE is a machine on that end. But again, the shiny new toy. You get the right numbers on that television show with TNT, you're going to get Snickers thinking awfully hard. And they're not a PG product as AEW, or at least they haven't gone forward officially and announced that it's going to be a PG product. But even still, if it wasn't, the sponsorship options are through the roof. AEW can be a player very, very, very soon. And I think they plan on being that. Dean Ambrose went on Talk Is Jericho, and he mentioned on the show that as much of an appreciation as he had for the WWE and what they did for him, their creative process is garbage. Their creative process is garbage. What they're doing does not work. Everybody and their mother has been saying this. Fans have said it. Indie guys have said it. Promoters from around the world have said it. Ring of Honor has said it. And now we've got WWE superstars leaving the company, coming out into the public and saying, I can't stand being there. There has to be somebody on a management level at WWE that hears these people. And I'm sure at first they say to themselves, they're just pissy because we didn't use them the way they wanted to be used. But every single person who is leaving the WWE is running, screaming from this facility. There are people asking for their release almost weekly. There are people who are turning down 6, 7-figure contracts to run away from you. It's like the girlfriend who's hot as fuck but is a total bitch. At some point, you have to realize it's you. It ain't always somebody else. It ain't when people ask for their release, like a Ty Dillinger or a Luke Harper, right? When they ask for their release, it's very easy for WWE to dismiss and to say, they just disgruntled. They're just pissy because we didn't use them the way they wanted to be used, and we didn't make them champion. That's why they're all pissed off. Dean Ambrose is not in that fucking boat. You made Dean Ambrose a WWE champion. You made him a top central figure in your programming since 2012. That is a 7-year run, either as a Shield or a singles, at the top of the card. He's a Money in the Bank winner. He's main evented more Raws than probably anybody has during the time period in which he's been active on the roster. He's one of your top superstars in this generation. and he ran screaming from you. Screaming. He ran. You heard the cold open here. I'm breathing fresh air for the first time in a long time. Everyone is fucking fed up with the way things are overproduced, with the way that things are thrown at them at the last second, the bullying tactics to get them to say things on the air they don't want to say. Listen to that Talk is Jericho episode with Dean Ambrose. You will be enlightened, because I know I was. There were a lot of things said on that podcast that are very eye-popping and revealing. And this is not a guy who has a reason to fucking lie. He does not have the need or the want to bullshit and shyster people out of fucking thought processes, okay? He was not happy. And according to him, there are a lot of people who are unhappy. Not just wrestlers. There are writers who are unhappy. There are actors who are unhappy. There are management people who are unhappy. This pro wrestling business, like Cody Rhodes said, this wrestling business does not belong to one individual. It belongs to everyone. And it's one of the reasons why AEW has been able to get such a groundswell support. Because for some oddball reason, in the WWE, you break your back, you break your neck, you starve, you travel all kinds of hours of the night, you are on planes, you are on car rides, carpooling, you're on your own bus, whatever the case may be. You're in Tulsa, you're in Memphis, then you head over to Marietta, and then you head down to Orlando, and you're doing all this crazy shit, and no matter how many times you wrestle, no matter how many shirts you sell, no matter how many tickets you sell, no matter how many make-a-wishes you make, no matter what you do, at the end of the day, regardless of the thousands that are in the building or regardless of the millions that are watching on TV, you are performing for the enjoyment and the betterment of one fucking person, Vince McMahon. That's it. There's no one else. And that's not me saying it. That's the fucking man himself saying it. Dean Ambrose said it. Everyone, Jericho supports it. Everyone understands. Your ideas and what you do, what you were hired to do is bullshit. You can pitch ideas to Vince and he can change it. Writers will give shit to Vince and he will change it. Jim Cornette said on his podcast the other day, he has his hands in so much shit. The food, menu, and catering runs through Vince McMahon. That's how fucking into his goddamn job he is. He is a 70-something-year-old man trying to book up-to-date modern concepts in 2019. That is a fucking recipe for disaster. And before anybody will sit here and tell me, hey, AJ, you better slow down or you get blackballed, I have got zero want to go into that fucking company. I'm not shitting on them right now because I've got zero fear. They're not going to hire me anyway. I am just simply telling you the fucking truth as told by his fucking employees. Not my assumptions, not my intuition, evident by the confessions and the testimonials of his own fucking employees. Every bit of that Dean Ambrose interview sounded a lot like the CM Punk one. Almost identical, except for the fact of the way that Dean Ambrose handled everything, as opposed to CM Punk. But it sounded almost the same. Punk told us years ago this shit was going down like this. There's a lot of top stars right now pissed off. And this is why AEW's existence is so important. Simply existing is causing rippling effect in the WWE. They're throwing fucking insane money at people that probably don't even deserve the money, which is a horrible thing to say because we're all destroying our bodies. But you get what I'm trying to say at a marketable, professional level. All right? He's overpaying. And he's doing 5-year contracts, extensions. He's doing whatever he can to get people from going to the other side. That is WCW, WWE tactic. Attitude Era tactic. Monday Night War tactic. You're just trying to take pieces off of the board. And while you're sitting here trying to panic and make these moves, the AEW is just simply doing whatever they're doing. I've been saying on my podcast for weeks, it's a war where it's back on. And the most irritating, most condescending thing you can do when you're in a fight with another fucking person is barely even acknowledge their fucking existence. And for once, the company that should be doing the ignoring isn't. WWE has mentioned AEW a shit ton of times. Sami Zayn was not the first one. Sami Zayn won't be the last one. Cody Rhodes and AEW have mentioned the WWE's name. Folks, this is a fight. It's going to be a fight moving forward. The question is, does the old man have enough tricks to keep up with the Young Bucks, no pun intended? Or will this finally be the end of the WWE? I know people, the WWE is going to be fine. The WWE is going to be fine. $1 million corporations have literally gone bankrupt overnight. It's happened before. It wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last. And I'm not suggesting right now that they will go quote unquote bankrupt. But I really do believe people are underestimating the impact of the brand new shiny toy. AEW runs its company through a modern concept. The WWE is not ready for that. And for those of you who are telling me, well, if they gave the reins to Triple H, we wouldn't have to worry about this. No. I honestly don't believe Triple H is that much better. The only thing Triple H does, because Triple H is also old school. Triple H is also an old man in brain and mindset. Very old school. The only difference between Triple H and Vince is Triple H listens to other people's ideas and concepts and has the balls to try. That's the only difference. And if you're saying to yourself, well, AJ, that's all we need. We just need them to try. No. Because what's going to end up happening is that Triple H will listen to the people to a point. If Triple H gets the chance to be Vince fucking McMahon, all that just might go away. I truly believe the only reason we're getting positive shit out of Triple H right now is to spite the old man. To show him he's out of date. It's time for a new... He's jockeying for position, folks. Don't let the wolf in sheep's clothing fool you yet again. This is the same old Triple H who, as a worker, would have buried the very same people he's trying to put over on his NXT brand. If Triple H would have been in his prime right now, he'd be shitting on NXT. But it's his brand, so he's all for it. But it's all the same political bullshit. He's aiming for the top spot. Instead of shying away from the indie guys, he's using them as weapons and pawns to get to where he wants to be. This has nothing to do about the fucking business. None. He's never shown any evidence at all that he gives a shit about the wrestling business or the WWE. Or, to be honest, WWE Universe. Never. He has always been about reaching the top spot. So for all of you out there who are supporting him right now, you're just feeding into it. Just feeding into it. AEW's existence is a problem for the WWE. And Triple H might get ahead of it. And Triple H might have a better plan to survive it. But who knows what can happen a few years from now. I can't wait. This is going to be an interesting life that we lead. So those are your top 10 talking points of AEW's Double or Nothing. I hope you guys had a good time. I know that I did here. I got a lot of things off my chest here. And I had a good time here. Listen, next week, episode 92, special surprise. Special surprise. You guys are going to get a chance to hear about that at some point throughout the week. I'll make the announcement, what's going on with the next episode. And, of course, folks, we're getting closer to episode 100. Big plans for episode 100. Haven't finalized literally any of them, but, big fucking plans. I'm excited about all these potential plans. It's going to be really dope. Anyway, thank you for... Look at that. See, right toward the end. Should I edit that? Nah, fuck it. Be real. Be uncensored. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And, of course, thank you for enjoying episode 91.
Welcome to our dirty show. This is Uncensored Mine. If you listen to my daddy show, he should buy me toys. He's a good daddy.